I've had a few people reach out this week asking about fencing food plots, if I'd make a video on it. And I was thinking about it. I've been fencing for about 8 years now. I've made a lot of mistakes and I've got it down to a science. I know how to save on costs and just how to keep the deer out of the food plots all season long, and how to keep them alive too. So we're going to help share some advice on that. We're actually going to put this fence up here momentarily, but Casey and I already put the T-posts in yesterday. Just got to do clips, wire, and put the unit on, and we're good to go, man. I was looking at the average input costs on corn and beans throughout the United States. For corn, it's somewhere around $800 to $1,000 per acre. And for beans, it's somewhere around $300 to $400 per acre. Now, that's probably not as much. It's probably a higher input cost than what we're doing for food plots, because we're not trying to hit 300 bushel corn or 80 bushel beans or anything like that. But I can't put a price point when I think about, man, what would this farm be if it had 2 acres of beans come late season? Or how many deer would be out here if this, where we're standing, this 5-acre field was full of beans, and there's no other ag anywhere from a 1.5 mile radius? What would be out here, man? I can't put a price tag on having late season food, especially that time of year. So when I am trying to decide, does a food plot need fenced off or does it not need fenced off? This is the deciding factor. Is the plot around agriculture already? Is it right next to the agriculture? Because we got to think about this. The does are lactating right now. Deer don't want to be seen at all from human presence. They don't want to be next to a road or whatever. They want to eat during the middle of the day. They want to get up, change their beds. They want to go grab a drink or whatever. They're not going to do that by the road. They're going to do it in a spot where they can't see or be seen from the road in a secluded portion. So this field where we're standing, it's a 5-acre field in size, but we have to fence it off because there's no other agriculture anywhere from 1 mile to 1.5 miles from this spot. There's deer that live on the farm. We know that. You can't see this plot from the road. So there's going to be deer out here all hours of the day throughout the summer munching on these beans if we do not fence them off. If I have an ag plot that is right next to, say, if I'm planting beans and it is right next to, I know that field's going to be beans, a big 200-acre bean field, then that plot does not need fenced off. That one's going to be fine. But if it's corn right next to beans, you got an acre of corn right next to 200 acres of beans, that corn's going to get demolished come probably around tassel or the silking stage, and they're going to mess it up. But I'm done rambling. Let's get to the fence. Show you guys how to keep deer out of your food plot. What?
You learned how to do this fencing from the Iowa State program, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah. Thanks for making me sound sophisticated, Ray. I don't know how many years ago, but I looked up a bunch of studies on what electric fence, what model of how to keep the wires is the best. And Iowa State did the work for us. They did a study where they tested, I think, 4 or 5, maybe even 6 different patterns of how to keep the wire at different heights and everything. This pattern that I'm using here today that I'm going to show you guys, this was the best one. So copy this and should work. Grab some clips. So we'll start, hey, there goes a turkey flying across the plot. So we'll start off with the T-posts. So I would say on average, looked at a bunch of fields yesterday, and I totaled the average per acre on what I'm doing. I fence off anywhere from an acre all the way up to, I fenced one field off that was 10 acres, and it needed fenced off because the year before they ate all the beans off. But we needed to shoot some deer off that property too. But as far as the T-posts go, I bought them in bulk. They're about $6.50 each. I do T-posts on the inside fence and the outside all the way around. When I first started off fencing, I used the plastic posts or whatever, stakes, that if you want to call them, on the outside, but they just kept breaking on me. They were a lot cheaper, which was nice from an affordability standpoint, but they couldn't keep the tension on the wire very well. So I just switched over to running all T-posts. That way I don't have any messes and everything's just dialed in. I can leave it there year round kind of deal. But if you don't want to pay $6.50 per T-post, that's fine. Look on Craigslist, look on Facebook Marketplace. You can probably find some crappy ones for like $2 or something, maybe $3 or something like that. But on average, it's about 50 T-posts per acre. And the more curves that you have, the more elevation change that you have, you're going to need more T-posts. So follow me, Case, right here. So normally, say we're in a flat level field, I can stretch these T-posts all the way out to 20 to 25 yards apart from each other, from this post to the next post. This is probably only about a 5 to 8 yard gap. It's because this hill's going down. So if I brought it too far over there, my bottom wire, which it's not gonna be level at the right height all the way across from that stretch point, you have to kind of, I don't know what I'm trying to say. All I'm trying to say is when you get dips, when you get elevation changes, it takes more T-posts to keep that bottom line at the right height. And I think that's all I got about T-posts. But clips, let me talk to you about clips real quick. These clips are my favorite clips. If we look back at the black clips that I was putting up yesterday with Casey, those clips are okay, but the little pin that goes down into those holes, they fall off a lot of times and then they get lost and then you need to go buy a new clip. And they're just kind of a pain to put on the T-posts themselves. These are way easier. They just snap on. They're called lock jaws. I can't remember off the top of my head how much they were. Easy as that though. So for, what's that? Yeah, I know, I was a pain in the butt yesterday. So normally I measure from the bottom down. I'm going 10 indents up, so it's probably somewhere around 1.5 feet, I would say, in my bottom wire. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Boom, lock you in there. And then I go up 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then as far as the top one goes, you can put it at the top, you can put it somewhere near the top, doesn't really matter as long as they can see it, and they're not gonna jump over, especially with this outside fence. Now the outside fence, this one only needs 1 strand, so I'm gonna go 13 up from the bottom here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I would say that that's probably right at mid-thigh height. First one's right at knee height. This one's right at waistline, neckline, depending on how tall you are. Well, Spencer might have that one messed up, wouldn't he, Ray? But we're gonna get all these clips stepped in real quick. I'm trying to think of anything to say as far as the clips go. I can't stress it enough. Like, these are the clips to go. They're so much easier to lock in. Saves you a lot of time and a lot of finger strength. All right, Casey, you get to hop in the truck and drive around in the AC while I get all ticked up. All right, we just finished up the clips. Now we're gonna start the wire. Before we move on, clips they average cost-wise 50 cents per clip. So each T-post location, it's where you got the inside and the outside posts, it's $2 for clip insulators. But the wire is probably one of the most expensive parts that you're gonna have to spend your money on. And here's what I'll say about the wire. Like, I use Gallagher wire. Just seems like I've gotten 6, 7 years out of that wire so far. I'm sure I'll get another 10, 15 out of it if I had to guess, as long as I keep putting it away and taking good care of it. But back to my point, the ribbon wire versus like the cable wire, this is cable wire. The ribbon, it's about that thick. It's very thin, but it's a lot easier for the deer to see them. And if you have anyone that does electric fence, they'll straight up tell you, like, hey, you're going to possibly kill a deer at some point running this fence if you're not checking it on a day-to-day basis. And the ribbon is the only type of wire that I found that the deer, I don't know if it's just easier for them to see or easier for them to maneuver through, but I've had a couple bucks get the rack stuck in this cable, but this cable is a lot less expensive, especially when like guys that are fencing off, shoot 40, 50 acres of food plots, I'd probably go this route versus the ribbon. Just got to maintain it really well. But if you got one spot that you're fencing and you want to buy once cry once kind of deal, buy the ribbon, do it right, and yeah. So let's get some wire up real quick. I normally just start with the bottom wire, then the middle, then the outside, and then I hop on the outside. That way I'm not having to duck in between any wires or anything. I'm lazy, man. I'm old, almost 30 years old.
Your hair is a flower.
Is it? All right, let's play Ring Around the Rosie on this plot real quick. All right, I'm gonna start on the bottom. I'm just gonna tie 2 knots real quick. Doesn't have to be super tight because we're gonna untie this when we come back. And these are those clips I don't freaking like, but that's all the store had. All right, and then we'll just keep going around until we come back here and we'll tie it off. But you gotta tie it off a certain way. And I use a lighter to expose the cables. I'll show you that here shortly. All right, first one's done. All right, I'm gonna show you guys what I'm gonna do real quick. I'm gonna wait till, there's a tick right there. Lone Star. All right, I'm just gonna cut it off for now. All right, now I'm gonna tighten it. So, I mean, nothing, no fancy knots or nothing. I'll show you guys what to do. Tie loop, just a normal knot. Leaving a little bit extra, about 6 inches extra. Cinch it down. Come over to this line, and now let's tighten it. There's probably a good amount of slack in this, but I want it to be really tight all the way through, so I'm gonna take it about as far as I can go. It's pretty darn tight, okay. Bring this through. I'm just gonna double knot it, just like the other one. There you go. Now I'm gonna leave about, let's say about 2 foot extra. So as I'm doing this, I'm gonna pull all my lines on first. But after I'm done, I'm gonna connect all these wires together. That way it's one solid line the whole way throughout. And this extra line is what will connect to that next one. And then that one to this one, that middle one will connect the outside. So it all makes sense as we go. I'm gonna play Ring Around the Rosie another 3 more times and we're good. All right, we're down to the last wire. I'm gonna connect them real quick. I'll show you guys what I do, how to do that. But I wanted to point one thing out after I get this thing tightened real quick that I didn't mention about the T-post stakes. All right, what I wanted to talk about on these corner posts and just every T-post around out of the way, I don't know terminology for it, but see these teeth on the posts? This is what we're connecting our clips to. I keep the teeth pointed out most of the time. And the reason being, this wire, see how it's sitting in the back of this clip? It's rubbing back there. It's not rubbing on this little lock pin for the wire. Or on the orange ones, it's a little clip that holds it there. When the wire keeps pulling on that and whatnot, it'll end up just tearing straight through this and your clip's gone, man. It needs replaced. So the best way, gosh, these ticks are bad. The best way to do this, keep the pressure on the clip per se. Point these teeth out. All right, let me get my lighter. I got my electric tape. Do I have my electric tape? So I just take a torch lighter on this Gallagher wire. It's a little windy. I gotta get on this side. So I'm just melting the plastic off of it basically. It's kind of windy, so I'm not getting, probably about an inch. I'm getting all that plastic off. That one's good. I'm just gonna continue to do this on every cut line and I'll connect it back. Show you guys in a sec. We just got all of our wires exposed, so now I'm gonna start connecting the wires. So I'm gonna connect bottom to middle, top to middle. And I'm just taking them and I'm twisting both exposed lines, the wires together. Now after I do that, I'm gonna come down to the main line. I'm gonna wrap a couple times around there. And I'm gonna take my handy dandy. Huh? Where is it? There it is. take my electrical wire, electrical tape. Gosh, I told you I'm bad with words. Just going around, taping that up. All right, that one's done. So top, middle, they're connected. Now, let's see if that's long enough. I might connect that to the top. Yes, I will. Now I'll connect these two. Doesn't matter what order you guys connect them in. Just gotta have the reason that I'm, huh?
Complete circuit.
A what?
Complete circuit.
A complete circuit. That sounds really smart. Maybe you should start doing this.
No, thanks. I'm good.
So we want to keep a good electrical current all the way through the fence. So exposing the metal and connecting the metal of the wire, not the plastic portion, but the metal, that is what's going to make sure that we keep good connection all the way throughout this fence. So connecting this one now to the outside fence. This is the middle. So middle, top, and the outside is now connected. Connect you back here. And I'm just taping them essentially to, once they don't rust any, right in those spots. And then that way they don't move too much and don't come unconnected. Tape these few spots and then we're good, right? What's up? Yeah, the unit. That's coming. There's a lot of things, a lot of different units that I've seen guys using. I mean, shoot, my buddy Collins, I know he tracks out like a battery. His isn't a solar unit, but he tracks out a car battery like every 2 weeks or month, whatever it is, to put that out on his. But I don't want to do that. I'd rather use solar. These are about 250 bucks, S20 units. You can go down a little bit even more, but these are just so darn nice. We'll set it up real quick. It'll do up to 12 miles of fence, I believe, up to 40 acres, if I'm not mistaken. So this 5-acre plot's a cakewalk for it. Now, sun, this way is south, east, west. I'm gonna point it right here-ish. If I can get it to go in. There we go. Red to red. Green to green. All right, so green is our ground connection. Normally I got a ground post here. I couldn't find one. So we'll just use a T-post for now. And hook your wire up to your cable. She is hot. Oh, I need it to be like just a little bit. Right there. I make sure I connect it to the metal too. You can, another thing that you could do, say like I had a little strand, say I cut right here, tie a knot, connect the fence, tighten it, but you got a little bit of extra string, you can chew off the wire or burn off the wire real quick and connect the red to, wire, like no plastic or any fluff in between. Just a few things to throw in here at the end. This is probably the most important thing as far as fencing goes, actually. Maintenance on your fence. So obviously I've got the beans sprayed off here. They're starting to push through and whatnot, but I made sure to hit the outside of the fence portion too. Your weeds are gonna grow back. It's hard to mow under here. It is a pain in the butt to weed whack this whole thing. Honestly, the best way, if you're gonna mow it, just use a 0 turn, put the wires up, and then move them back down after you get done mowing. But the easiest way to maintain your fence, make sure it's keeping good electrical charge, is spray residual on your fences. You should be spraying in your ag plots anyways, but spray residual. Residual is just chemical that after you spray it, within so many days, up to 14 days, up to a month, that chemical, if you get a rain, it'll reignite in the soil and it will kill any weeds that are pushing up from your initial spray. So Atrazine is a good one, but there's some, some chemicals you can spray close to beans or corn, some you can't, kind of deal. So you got to know what you're spraying. Don't just spray some random residual and know which way the wind's blowing that day. What else about fences? For putting them away at the end of the year, a lot of the guys, these are permanent locations for these fences. All the T-posts, all the wire, all the clips, everything will stay out here except the solar unit throughout the season. Now you can put them up or you can put them low. Personally, I don't really have a preference. I'd say low looks a little bit better, cleaner, I would say anyway. The deer aren't tripping over them or anything. I haven't had any deer get caught up when you put them on the highest setting on the wire or on the clips on the inside fence, but it just doesn't look visually appealing if you're one of those guys, but it still works good. Otherwise, those deals to roll up the fence, man, you got to spend a lot of money if you have a bunch of fence, but if you're just doing one plot, spool it up, spend the money, bring it home at the end of the year, leave the T-posts out there, and I can't stress this point enough, do not buy those plastic stakes if you have a lot of curves, if you have a lot of uneven ground, unlevel ground. You know what, that's what I want to end it with. I did see a spot over here that I didn't put enough T-posts in. I want to show you that elevation change and why I'm using T-posts versus plastic posts. I guess I don't have any plastic with me, but those plastic posts, when you have a lot of tension on your fence, or if a deer runs through it or something, it can snap off the clip that holds that line, that wire in place. T-posts, you don't have to worry about that. So we'll drive over there real quick. We'll end it with that. Then I'm done blabbing. I want to go eat something. I'm thirsty.
If you go slow down, it's because you got baby coming real soon.
Yeah, she's coming real freaking soon. But let's get out of here. I'm so sick of fencing. Okay, so on these curves and elevation changes, I'll show you real quick. Right here, the wire, my knee's right here. It's right below my knee. If I go right in the middle, there's a little bit of a dip here. If I go right in the middle, here's my knee. It's probably about 2 inches above my knee, so that's about 4 inches high. These deer could easily crawl up under here. So I'm gonna add 2 posts to help fix the height of this fence. That's one thing, after you get done, go back through it, make sure your heights are correct all the way throughout the fence. Yeah, we'll step these in real quick. That's all I got. I don't know what else to say.
Alright, peace.
I got anything? You got anything to say?
I'm hot and pregnant and ready to get some cream.
Yeah, we're at the get her out stage. Thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next one. Peace.